Well, welcome, Prescott, to another Prescott E-News Prescott Talks. My name's Glenn Martin. I'm your host, and I am so happy to bring in our state representative, Quang Nguyen, who actually, Quang, last time you were here, you were candidate Quang Nguyen. So it's been like almost a year now.
It's been fun. I appreciate you having me back in here again.
We really appreciate you coming in, and especially the folks don't know this, but I called Quang last night about 8 o'clock and said, hey, I got an opening. You want to do a show? And, Quang was like, always very gracious and glad to come on.
Never mind, I have to get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we got to keep them rolling. But anyway, Quang, thanks again. Appreciate you coming in. And there's so much good stuff coming from the state right now and from the House. Conservative bills that are being passed. And that was one of the big reasons I wanted you to come in. So Quang, tell us about some of the things that are going on down at the Capitol and some of the bills that are being passed.
Yeah, we, with the razor thin margin, we're able to, pass quite a few important bills in the House as well as the Senate, and a lot of them that we're going to discuss today actually got signed into law by Governor Ducey. Thank God he's doing a great job there. One of the things that I want to talk about is the anti-vaccination passport bill that's brought to us by Representative Brett Roberts. It's sitting in the Senate right now waiting to be put on the board. I don't know when that's going to happen, but I think this bill has to be driven by the citizens, because this is for all of us. And basically it's saying, prohibit businesses from refusing service based on your vaccination status. I shouldn't have to tell you that I'm vaccinated or not in order for you to, provide a service to me.
Well, let me ask you this question. Do you have to prove that you've had your flu shot before you go get something?
Absolutely not.
Well, do you have to prove the fact that, I think there's a thing called HIPAA.
Right.
That does not allow people to know what your medical records are.
Right.
But yet I agree with you, with Quang, is I read a post about a restaurant owner that unless you had the card that showed you were vaccinated, he would deny you service. And that just seems
way over.
Way over.
Basically,
not locally here. This was a place in Utah.
We're slowly losing the freedom that was given to us by our founding fathers and by God.
Yeah.
And so I like to see that bill get on the board. I don't know what's holding up in the Senate, but maybe some of us citizens start contacting your senators and sort of encourage them to say, hey, put it on the board.
Yeah.
And see who votes for it and who doesn't. Senate Bill 1485, Ugenti Rita, that was signed into law, and basically is the permanent early voting list. What it means is if you have not voted in 4 elections, a primary, a general election, a primary, a general election, then the county will send you a postcard letting you know that eventually you're going to be removed if you don't respond to it. You do have 90 days, and they're also going to contact you by phone, by email, by text, whatever means. And you can always say, hey, I want to continue to be on this roster. So it's a great bill. It's going to clean up some of the dead people and the people who moved away, so we don't have duplications. House Bill 2569, prohibit outside money, by Representative Hoffman. So it prevents money from the outside coming into our counties, our cities.
You mean California money flowing
Absolutely,
into
the George Soros type of kind of money. It's a great bill. It was signed. One of my favorite is Senator Bartow's Bill 1457. It will be a Class 6 felony if an abortion is performed solely because of genetic abnormality. And I like that a lot. I mean, we do need to have to stand up for the children that have no voice.
Yeah, the unborn.
Right.
So, yeah.
And I call them children because they are children.
They are. Yeah, I agree. Well, that sounds like a pretty good roster going on again. And I especially like the bill from Ugenti Rita, SB 1485, because it'll clean up the rosters. And I've seen a lot of pushbacks from the Democrats on this saying, we're trying to restrict
voter
suppression
and voter suppression on people of color. And to me, it's extremely offensive whenever they use that line. They use people of color to as a pun, as a talking point.
It's trying to separate, again, our country, by race, and that's one of their tools that they use.
In case you didn't know, Glenn, I do have an ID.
Uh-huh.
I do know how to register before the deadline, and I know exactly what day to vote on. So
and the neat thing about this is if you don't get a response and they keep on emailing you, if all of a sudden you wake up one morning and went, holy cow, my voter registration's gone void and null, you can just go and register again.
Absolutely.
It's not like
you're not being removed
We're not
permanently.
removing this person from
But
the
that's
rolls.
a talking point.
But I've watched the news. I watch some of the media, and I just shake my head, and I just can't believe some of the comments that come
It's
back
common
from
sense.
the left.
It's common sense. It's going to work for everyone.
Right.
It's going to provide more integrity to our voting system.
So what other bills you got going on there?
Well, one of the bills that I sponsored very early on, I think by the second or third week after I was sworn in, was House Bill 2575, and it is the Clergy Hospital Visitation Bill. Mm-hmm. And that bill took about 3 months or so. A lot of staff members worked on it. The hospital were involved, and the Senate was involved. So basically, it's about 3 months, 3.5 months, but it crossed the line. So basically what the bill says is that during an emergency pandemic, that if the hospital allows one person to come in, one visitor to come in, they would have to allow clergy members, they would have to facilitate in-person clergy members to provide spiritual care, especially end-of-life care.
Gotcha.
And it's a great bill, and that's the reason why I was contacted across the country to talk about this bill from the Christian standpoint.
Yeah. Well, again, talking to you privately, you got a lot of pushback on that as well.
The atheist organization, which is basically the secular Arizona organization, they push back pretty hard. Their argument is basically saying that this bill would exclude non-Christians or atheists. And the way I look at it is any form of exclusion at all is self-imposed. Mm-hmm. We're not excluding anybody at all. Mm-hmm. So that's a false argument.
Yeah. What other bills you got?
Big one, I think Senator Rogers, Senate Bill 1382. That bill originally would declare that all Second Amendment related business to be essential during a declared emergency. It was very kind of her to allow me to approach her and basically said, can I put an amendment on it? So the amendment basically would provide additional liability protection for the firearm industry, ammunition, distributors, retailers, seller, from being frivolously sued because somebody decided to use a firearm unlawfully.
Yeah.
Right. So basically, if you get hit by a drunk driver, you shouldn't be able to sue for it.
Right. Well, that's an interesting bill because Governor Ducey even recognized you and Senator Rogers on accomplishing and getting that over the line.
Yeah, it was
cool.
another tough battle, but we did get Davidson's, which is in Prescott, here involved. Yeah. We got Ruger involved, the NSSF, the NRA. So everybody worked together. There's a lot of stakeholders involved here, and we were able to convince the governor that this is good protection. We finally put a fence around the state of Arizona to make sure that these industries and jobs don't go away because somebody decided that they want to sue. And the federal statute PLACA, if you remember Biden in the Rose Garden talking in the early days, one of the things that he wants to do was to encourage Congress to repeal PLACA. And if that happens, we're not going to have essential business in the Second Amendment industry, and we're not going to have any supply chain here. If those companies are gone and the jobs are gone.
And then there was another one where, and I don't know the number of the bill was, where the governor signed to be a sanctuary state?
Yes, that would be Bill 2111 by Representative and Mr. Whip Biasucci, Leo Biasucci. And basically, that is identical to the Yavapai County Second Amendment Sanctuaries
There you go,
declaration.
Yeah.
But now, we will not be providing resources or manpower to help federal government enforcing or infringing upon our Second Amendment.
Yeah. These are really big bills.
And local, and state Republican organization should recognize these, and they should go along and promote it. These are wins for the R's.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be silent about it. We shouldn't be quiet about it. We should talk about this.
Yeah, that's my question: is where's the press releases coming out from Republican conservative
The House Majority
leadership?
Majority organization is putting out press releases on a daily, weekly basis, and they're not being picked up. And I think we need to do more.
Yeah, I agree.
And the other thing that I want to mention, Glenn, and I know you and I talked separately or privately many nights, is that as a caucus, we need more than 31 in the House, and we need more than 16 in the Senate.
Yep.
Then how do we do that? I think we need AZ GOP to do its job and to raise money and to start electing conservative candidates, and we need to do that.
Yeah, we talked, privately again on the razor thin margin that we have. And, if the Democrats take the House or take the Senate, everything that you're doing, anything that you bring up is going to be mute.
They're not even going to hear it.
They're not even going to hear it.
Yeah, they're not going to hear it.
So this is what we're
this
faced
is really
with.
critical.
Yeah.
And I said the only way for us to comfortably fight the Democrats is to have more than 31.
Yeah.
So if you have one of them decided to walk off the path, you don't have to worry about it.
Right.
In this case, every vote is an important vote.
Yeah. So what we're saying, folks, is if you have friends in other counties or that are sitting on the ledge of districts, please, let's make sure that we're getting the conservative message out there and letting them know what we're doing, because we see what the Democrats and the liberals are doing to the country.
Right.
The place is, I don't even want to go there. But look at our state, and our state is pretty solid, and we're doing very well. Quang, you got a partner in crime here that you work with, Judy Burgess, and you guys work together as a team.
Yes,
I know you do.
Yes, I like Judy a lot.
Yeah.
I like Judy a lot, and one thing that I will say about Judy is you can always count on her to give you a solid conservative voting record, and she's been doing just that.
Now, when you're looking at these bills, do you guys converse about them, or is it just you're both conservatives? So?
I think we have different interest points, or I would say areas, and so she concentrate on her areas, and I have a tendency to concentrate on what I need to do, and so I would work with staff. I would work with just about anybody that's interested in the Second Amendment or the pro-life movement or religious freedom, and those are really the three areas that I like to concentrate on.
Well, another thing that you always promised when you were doing your campaigning is you weren't going to raise taxes, and so far you've kept that promise.
So far, I've kept the promise. Even
with some pretty big pushback and some
pretty heavy duty phone calls on things, and if it it quacks like a duck, the old saying, 1 + 1, it is 1. And if it's a tax imposing on us citizen, I don't care who is going to benefit. I'm going to vote no on it. And so far, I've been able to do that and fulfill that promise.
That's great. Anything else that you'd like to bring up?
Hey, we got a huge tax cut being proposed here at 2.5% flat tax. I think it's going to be great for the entire state. It's probably is one of the biggest things that the state of Arizona is proposing to do. So I'm just hoping that everybody jumps on board with that and support it.
Yeah.
There's no reason for us to ever not support a tax cut.
That's excellent. So how much longer is this session in? You got another week or two?
I have no idea. I don't know when it's gonna end. All depends on the budget, I guess. And
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that it'll end at the next Friday, because you know where I'm going on Saturday.
Yeah.
I'm
You
flying
know,
to Annapolis on Friday. On
Big,
Saturday.
big news. Share it with the folks.
Well,
Because I have it in my notes.
my daughter is actually going to be commissioned as an ensign in the United
Yeah.
States Navy from Annapolis,
Isn't
and
that
it's
something?
a big deal for and I say it's a big deal for our family, but it's also a big deal for our community here in
Yeah.
Prescott Valley, and the state of Arizona. And she truly is a patriotic daughter of the state of Arizona. That's
Yeah.
how I see it.
Yeah. Well, it hit me, on one of your Facebook posts, because those are people who don't know Juan's background. He was a refugee from Vietnam, came to this country, didn't know the language, worked his way up through college, and where he's at today. And now his daughter is part of the Naval Academy and will be ensign?
She's gonna be
An ensign.
an ensign, and she'll be selecting, or actually she got selected for submarine service.
So Quang put out there something that really resonated with me during my generation. You don't have to stay a refugee by Tom Petty.
That's right.
And
It's my favorite
I
song.
just thought, wow, that really wraps and encases the whole thing. Nguyen, Representative Nguyen, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you, my friend.
Oh, it's
Good to
been
see
a
you
pleasure, and
always,
it's
Glenn.
always great to talk to you.
got it. Love to be back
person.
again.
Great.
Thank you.
So as I wrap this up, I always like to say thank you to our prior serving and current serving military. And of course, your daughter's part of that now, so that's pretty cool. Our law enforcement and our firefighters keeping our streets safe. And till next time, Prescott, I've got Phil Good, candidate coming in for mayor
I love Phil.
for Prescott. So I know you've supported them in the past, Quan. I think you support them today.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so stay tuned. We'll see you next week. And as always, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.